Okay. All right, we have a lot of legislation today. Our first set of bills seeks to improve public health and accessibility by providing data on reproductive health, by supporting people struggling with drug addiction, and by improving the quality of life for people who are hard of hearing. I'll go over them now. We have Intro 1161A, which requires DOHMH to report annually on immunization rates of New Yorkers for human papilloma virus. Intro 1162A, which requires DOHMH to report annually on the use of contraceptives. Intro 1172A, which requires the department to report annually on maternal mortality. Intro 748B, which requires the City of New York to issue a biennial report on strategies to address drug misuse in New York City. Intro 882A, which requires that a hearing loop, which helps people with hearing loss hear better, be installed for certain capital projects. I want to thank Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito, DOH Commissioner Mary Bassett, Mayor's Office of People with Disabilities Commissioner Victor Calisi, and now I'm going to introduce let me first thank Corey Johnson and Councilmember Elizabeth Crowley as well. And now I'm going to introduce Councilmember Helen Rosenthal, the sponsor of Intro 882A.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Mr. Mayor. You know, my first year of office, I remember meeting Tom Harkin, and I remember the Mayor's Office of Disability Commissioner, Victor Calisi, was there, and Mayor, I think you were there as well. He was responsible, of course, for 27 years ago now, passing the Americans with Disability Act, and I remember thinking about the impact that his work, that one simple piece, not so simple, piece of legislation had on millions of Americans. So let's take a moment just to think about what the ADA means. It means that every American, regardless of physical limitations, should have the same level of access to employment, state and local government services, public accommodations, commercial facilities, and transportation, and that no American should have to live in fear or circumvent their lives because they know there is a place that they cannot enter or a public activity that they will not be able to fully participate in. And the truth of the matter is that what I've heard from people with disabilities is that, in fact, they are frustrated, they are discouraged. Civic life has not opened its doors for them. And so since we've been in office, we've been searching for ways to ensure that New York City government is doing all it can to strengthen the ADA. Last year, the council passed 2 of my bills that the mayor signed into law, which sought to do just that, open government's doors to those with disabilities. And now I'm thrilled that the moment has come. According to advocates, Intro 882A is the strongest bill in the country to support those with hearing loss. It requires, wow, really, Charlie?
Yeah, just keep rolling with it.
Thank you. It requires the installation of hearing loops, a brilliant technology that blocks out background noise for hearing aid users whenever the city invests in our public assembly areas. This affects schools, community centers, libraries, critical spaces for civic participation. So the impact of this is far-reaching. According to the Hearing Loss Association of America, about 20% of Americans report some degree of hearing loss, and the legislation that you are signing into law today will enable tens of thousands of New Yorkers to fully participate in public hearings and meetings. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. And now the sponsor of Intros 1161A, 1162A, and 1172A, Councilmember Elizabeth Crowley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon. I want to thank the mayor for signing these bills into law today. I want to acknowledge that we've been joined by the Honorable Elizabeth Holtzman, who was our first woman district attorney, in the city of New York. She was a congresswoman, the youngest elected during her time, and also citywide elected official, our controller. She has been very, very instrumental on women's health issues and has worked closely with the council on these bills. It's important to emphasize that all over the country, women's health and reproductive rights are being attacked. Today's bills on health are necessary for this city to protect those rights and to better understand the utilization rates of women's health services, which so many of our local communities need better access to. Women's health is family health, and family health is community health. Under the leadership of our speaker, Melissa Mark Veverito, the Young Women's Initiative was started and certainly expanded services to many underserved communities, from vaccinations for cancer-causing viruses to utilizing more effective forms of birth control to improving maternal health. We, as a city, need to know better where these programs are reaching and where the Department of Health and community health facilities can do better. When we have a more comprehensive information on how effectively the city is reaching target groups, we can work more effectively on building a healthier city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. And before we proceed, I want to thank formally the Chair of the Committee on Health, Councilmember Corey Johnson, and the Chair on the Committee on Mental Health, Developmental Disabilities, Alcoholism, Substance Abuse, and Disability Services, Councilmember Andy Cohen. With that, I want to invite testimony, and we have two people signed up. The aforementioned Elizabeth Holtzman, who we are thrilled to have with us, and Catherine Boughton. We welcome you both to the microphone over by the door.
I'm Catherine Boughton, and I represent the Hearing Loss Association of America. I think I'd know. This is the second time I've been here within a year, and people with hearing loss in New York have so benefited from the bills that Helen Rosenthal has proposed and backed, that Victor Calisi has helped us to draw up. So I want to thank Councilmember Rosenthal. I want to thank Commissioner Calisi, who's not here. I want to thank my colleague, Jerry Bergman from HLAA, who's worked really hard on this. And I want to thank the mayor. New York is making history with this. That's great. And that is true, by the way, that I checked with advocates all over the country, and no other city has a bill like this one. So
We always like being first. Thank you.
My name is Elizabeth Holtzman. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, for recognizing me. I'm here to stand in support of Councilmember Crowley's three bills. They're of great significance to the health of women in this city, health of families, and health of the city. They move us forward. I was very honored to be able to work with her on the legislation with regard to contraception. My interest in that came about because in Denver, Colorado, and actually in the state of Colorado, there was an experiment using IUDs, long-lasting contraception forms, and the reduction in teenage pregnancy was about 50%. That's something we can learn from. We need to replicate. We need to be the first in doing things like that, because unwanted pregnancies lead to, as we know, many, many serious problems. So I just want to salute you for signing the bill, Councilmember Corey Johnson, Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito, but most of all for Elizabeth Crowley for her just tenacity, stubbornness, and insistence on getting legislation through that will benefit women and all the people of this city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, well, I think it's time to sign the bills.
Can I invite up
Please.
Catherine Boughton, the Executive Director of the Hearing Loss Association of New York, Jerry Bergman, who is a leading advocate, and of course, Edward Friedman, he was the intern in my office, and there's a wonderful picture of you shaking his hand, actually, Mayor de Blasio, and he spearheaded this effort, and also Sean Fitzpatrick, my legislative director, who got it all over the
Come on up.
line.
We will do anything and everything you want.
Do this one, and then I'll get Liz.
Sure, sure.
And of course, I'll stand.
And as you.
have to be my guide dog. Should I stand here?
Yes. Yes, and we make sure everyone, oh, Cleo, no. Thank you. So good to see you, Roberta. Thank you.
All right, we have Corey's first, and I can move it back. Hold on. Okay.
You want to do that one first?
Oh, either way. You decide.
They're all standing nicely right there. We'll do the Rosenthal first.
Rosenthal first, okay.
And how many pens do you need? 5 do you need? 6?
7, 8.
8 it is. Okay, here we go.
Thank you so much.
Well done.
Thank you.
I will be providing you with many pens. Now, if you will. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is a great honor
Well
that you've
deserved.
done this.
Well deserved. Excellent. Do we want a, do we get live action photo, or do we need one more? Look, let's everyone look forward.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you very, very much.
You are very welcome. Thanks for all your advocacy. All right, now. Okay, so 2 pens each? Okay,
I'll have a both flags.
I like it.
You want to-
Standing here.
You have everyone up? You want to bring anyone else?
This is it.
Are you good?
That's great.
Okay. 2 each. The first one. Yeah, I'll take one. Well done. Wherever there's a good cause, you'll find her. You're very welcome. Very productive today, making it all happen.
Not shabby.
Thank you very much. All right, and now stand around, wait 1 second for this last one. Yes. Just so it will have an audience. 2? Okay, are you going to get them or someone else? And these bills are now all law. Excellent.
Thank you.
Well done.
Nice stuff today.
Thanks for being here.
Mr. Mayor?
Welcome. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, excellent.
It's like a talk show. Great. How do we do this? Am I supposed to go? I said like a talk show.
Thanks for asking.
That's right. See? Okay, next we have another large group of bills. And these bills first help people involved in vehicle collisions, shed light on the location of private streets, make the process for transferring taxi medallions more efficient and affordable, and recognize the value of car sharing in New York City. I'll go over the bills now. Intro 1280B requires NYPD to make collision reports available online to individuals involved. Intro 1071A requires DOT to conduct a study of private streets. Intro 1474A lowers the tax on the transfer of a taxi medallion. Intro 1475A removes certain restrictions on the transfer of taxi medallions. Intro 873A establishes a car-sharing pilot program that reserves some streets parking spaces for car-share vehicles. Intro 267A requires DOT to designate parking spaces in municipal parking lots for car-share organizations. I want to thank Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito, NYPD Commissioner Jimmy O'Neill, DOT Commissioner Polly Trottenberg, TLC Commissioner Mira Joshi, Manhattan Borough President Gail Brewer, Councilmember Rosie Mendez, the sponsor of Intro 267A, Councilmember Vanessa Gibson, the Chair of the Committee on Public Safety, and now it's my pleasure to introduce Councilmember Chaim Deutsch, the sponsor of Intro 1280B.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we all know, being involved in even a minor car accident can be a very stressful experience. For all these years, it was incredibly aggravating to obtain a collision report. Motorists would have to appear in person, to wait on sometimes long lines in the police precinct, or to be told it is not available yet and only to receive it after multiple attempts. With today's bill signing, we are ensuring that New Yorkers will no longer need to undergo such task. The NYPD's online collision report retrieval portal is a quick, convenient method for involved parties to acquire a copy of their accident report. I was proud to participate in the planning and launch of the portal with the NYPD to ensure that it is senior-friendly, secure, and easy to navigate. Furthermore, we are saving New Yorkers wasted time and effort while allowing police officers assigned to precincts to focus on more important matters. I want to personally thank the NYPD for the close partnership on this bill. Particularly, I'd like to thank Commissioner James O'Neill and Deputy Commissioner of Information and Technology, Commissioner Jessica Tisch. I also want to thank Mayor de Blasio and Council Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito for their support on Intro 1280B. And I also look forward to continue collaborating with the New York City Police Department, with the Commissioner Tisch, on expanding this online process for individuals who are injured, bicyclists, or people that have property damage. So anyone that would file an accident report, it should be available online, hassle-free. We all know that being involved in an accident is very stressful, and this is a way to make New Yorkers' lives a little easier. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember. And now my pleasure to introduce the sponsor of Intro 1071A, Councilmember Alan Maysel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate your willingness to sign this wonderful piece of legislation. In 1898, the city of New York consolidated with the boroughs of Brooklyn and Bronx and Queens, Staten Island. And since that time, there have been significant numbers of streets that have never been part of the official street map. We don't know exactly how many of these streets exist, but we do know that where they do exist, the city is not providing services for these streets. So this bill is designed to identify these streets and to prepare procedures for possible takeover of the streets by the city to relieve the people who have easements the burden of maintaining these streets. So I thank you, Mr. Mayor, and Council Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito for their support, and I look forward to seeing this very important bill get into play, and at some point we will have these streets as part of the official street map. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. And now I want to introduce the sponsor of Intros 1474A and 1475A and the Chair of the Committee on Transportation, Councilmember Ydanis Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'd like to thank also the speaker, Melissa Margarito, her staff, our staff, Kelly Taylor, Jonathan Mazzarano, Gafar Salo, Nico Aven, and Emily Rosen, and my staff, Rosa Murphy and Jose Luis, for the great job that they did in this bill. And also, thank you, Commissioner Yoshi, for your partnership too also. I'd like to dedicate this bill to the 6,000 individual medallion owners who have contributed to our city and our city finance throughout the purchase of these medallions. They have used them to help put their kids through college, become homeowners, and so much more, and we owe them our support. It has long been my position that there can be a place for everyone in our taxi and for-hire vehicle industries. New York is a city of opportunity and innovation. It is important that every sector remain strong, serve passengers safely and efficiently, and offer drivers good opportunities to make a living, as this industry have done for generations. With the signing of 1474-A and 1475-A, we are taking an important step in easing some of the unnecessary restrictions related to the transferability of taxi medallions, including eliminating so-called individual medallions. By addressing some of these barriers to medallion ownership, this bill has the potential to spur much-needed investments in the yellow taxi industry and save the investments of the over 6,000 hardworking individual medallion owners as the other New Yorkers who own medallions. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you. And finally, the sponsor of Intro 873A, Councilmember Mark Levine.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. You know, there are 1.5 million households in New York City that own their own car. And as anyone who's ever tried to look for parking in just about any neighborhood knows, that's too darn many. We need to give people alternatives to car ownership, to private car ownership, and car sharing does just that by giving people a chance to use a vehicle only when they need it without having to store a private car on the street, taking up space the rest of the time. But for this sector to grow, there needs to be a place for the cars to be parked. And our bill would establish a pilot program through which city-owned garages and public on-street parking will be made available on a pilot basis for growth of the car share industry. Now, this will be great for New Yorkers in that every vehicle in car share is shown to reduce by 11 the number of privately owned cars on the street, so that'll clear up parking, has environmental benefits, and it saves folks some money because it's so much cheaper to use a car share on an hourly basis as opposed to paying all the cost related to owning your own vehicle. And we're going to make sure there's an equity component here, so we're reaching neighborhoods like the Far Rockaways, thank you, Donovan Richards, where transit options are scarce, and getting access to this new program will only open up new horizons for folks. I want to thank you, Mayor, for your support, and thank DOT, who was an amazing partner in this great traffic innovation, and thank our chair, who shepherded this through. And of course, I want to thank my own staff, Amy Slattery, and the great central staff, Kelly Taylor and Jonathan Massarano. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And we have one person signed up for public testimony, my friend David Pollock. Please come on up to the microphone there by the door.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank the City Council. I want to thank the Mayor. I want to thank the Taxi and Limousine Commission, Udanis Rodriguez from the Transportation Committee, our governmental affairs people. On behalf of thousands of immigrant taxi drivers and medallion owners who have a dream to own a business and partner with New York City, we're hoping that these bills will help to stimulate that, in fact, and give them part of their American dream. And I just want to thank everyone for expediting this in the manner it was expedited. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, it's time to sign the bills. Chaim, you are first. Come on up. Haha. Good question. Let's see if there's a rhyme or reason to it. Your distinguished look would take you first.
Me, my wife, my 5 kids, and 2 grandkids. Yeah.
Okay. How many would you like?
5.
5. 5 it is. Cinco. Muchas gracias. Yes, we can do that. Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done, my friend. Excellent. Okay, now. Idanis.
Oh, this is.
On Idanis, what? He's got two bills. Aha, hold on, they're not in order.
This is my 37 bills.
Okay. Or maybe they once were in order. Now they are again. Okay. 3 each? 3 each. Here we go. Wait. You're not in the right place. I'm amazed that we've all been through this a lot of times. I'm going to pretend that didn't happen. There we go. Very good. Congratulations. That's right. Congratulations again. Okay. And now, Mark, step forward.
Now we can swap. Now I'm in the right place.
How many you need?
A mere 3.
A mere 3 it is.
Thank you.
I congratulate you. Well done.
Mayor, thank you.
Do one more handshake to get it right. Well done.
Thank you, Mayor.
Excellent.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, man. You're everywhere. Good to see you. Okay, now. Well, Rosie's got one, but you're the last person who's here is left, so stand up. How many would you like?
3, 5.
5?
5.
You got it.
Uno.
Uno, well done. Well done.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Excellent, good job. Thank you. Wait, is guest photographer Donovan Richards here? Give me your hand. Give me your hand for me. Look at that. He looks great. Come on, Donovan, you can do it. We're holding this pose just for you. Chaim's going to get it instead.
I will transfer it to you.
Yeah, that would be better if you knew how to take it. All right, there you go. Well done. That took audacity to brag about your picture when you... One? Okay, all these bills are law. Okay. Stack of law. Okay, here we go. Thank you. I don't think it was an insult. I think it was a clarification. There's there's a difference. Okay. All right, last, we have 3 bills that will help protect the safety of New Yorkers and the well-being of our environment. Intro 247A increases the fines for performing electrical work without a license. Intro 820A requires the Department of Sanitation to consider programs that would incentivize recycling in public housing. And Intro 1198A requires DEP to publish a plan for reducing flooding in Queens Community Districts 12 and 13, and to report annually on progress. I want to thank Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito, Buildings Commissioner Rick Chandler, Sanitation Commissioner Catherine Garcia, NYCHA Chair Shola Alatoye, DEP Commissioner Vinny Sapienza, DDC Commissioner Fanyoski Pena Mora, Office of Sustainability Director Mark Chambers, and Councilmember Jamani Williams, the Chair of the Committee on Housing and Buildings, and also 2 other chairs, Councilmember Antonio Reynoso, Chair of the Committee on Sanitation and Solid Waste Management, and Councilmember Costa Constantinides, Chair of the Committee on Environmental Protection. Now, my pleasure to introduce Councilmember Elizabeth Crowley, the sponsor of Intro 247A.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When electrical work is done by unlicensed contractors, both workers and civilians are put at grave risk of either fires or explosions. Stiffer penalties are necessary to effectively deter unlicensed contractors from engaging in this work, and I am pleased to see the mayor sign this into law today. This bill will increase penalties for the performance of unlicensed electrical work in New York City to bring the penalty up to the level that has been established for other licensed construction trades performing work without a license. The maximum criminal penalty will now be a $25,000 fine and up to 1 year imprisonment. The bill also codifies the civil penalty for first-time violation at $4,800. In a city that never sleeps, it is imperative this electrical work is done by skilled, trained professionals. It is a matter of public safety. I thank the City Council and the Mayor for prioritizing the safety of all New Yorkers, and I want to thank Mr. Edwin Lopez, the leader of ANICA, who is here today and who has supported this bill for a number of years. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. And now I'd like to introduce our public advocate, Letitia James, sponsor of Intro 820A.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also want to thank the Speaker, Melissa Macberito. I'd also like to thank my co-sponsors, Council Members King, Lander, Menchaca, Richards, and Crowley for working with me on this important legislation. And of course, my staff, my current Legislative Director, Jason Furman, my past Legislative Director, Jarrett Hova, and Committee Counsel, Cullen Howe, for all of their work on this bill, as well as Outreach Director, Timothy Tapia, for facilitating conversations with NYCHA residents. And lastly, I want to thank the residents of public housing who've helped to create this bill and for their valuable input. As the single largest landlord in New York City, over 400,000 plus families call NYCHA buildings home. These buildings have given generations of working families in New York the stability they need to make it in the city, especially as thousands of people have been pushed out because of rising rents. As individuals who live in public housing, they should not be denied access to some basic sanitation and quality of life programs. And so this legislation aims to address some of these discrepancies by creating a program that educates and incentivizes NYCHA residents to recycle. Despite the fact that New York City law requires landlords of buildings with 4 or more units to provide recycling services to all their residents, recycling in NYCHA has been incredibly challenging. There is often a lack of space to accommodate the proper recycling bins and inadequate outreach and education about how to recycle and the real long-term benefits of recycling. And this bill will help to address many of the problems associated with recycling at NYCHA by taking a holistic look at the challenges and opportunities of expanding recycling. Recycling incentive programs allow participants to earn points for their recycling efforts, and these points in turn can be redeemed on rewards through participating retailers, restaurants, and other commercial establishments. Just recently, Philadelphia announced that largely because of this program, the city's recycling increased from about 74,000 tons in 2009 to almost 128,000 tons. And Philadelphia, more importantly, saved $3.5 million a year in disposal costs. But they're also making great strides to protect their city and the environment for generations to come. And so there is a lot of work to be done, but making recycling more accessible and commonplace is an important step in the right direction for both our environment and our pocketbooks. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. And now, co-sponsor of Intro 820A, Councilmember Andy King.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And of course, our great public advocate, thank you for sponsoring this bill. I'm glad to sign on anything that can help improve the quality of life of New Yorkers. I'm all in for it, so thank you both, Mr. Mayor, for signing today. And we all know the importance of managing our waste in the city and how we need to find creative ways to reuse and recycle. This isn't just about the climate change of our earth, it's about a fiscal issue we as members of the Sanitation Committee appreciate all too well. This law does this by incentivizing our thousands of New Yorkers in NYCHA to recycle, as well as engage in local businesses in a community need. I've always said that people pay attention to people who participate, and this legislation encourages our neighbors in NYCHA to do the right thing, reuse and recycle, and take ownership of their development, as well as spur economic development for our small business owners willing to do the right thing and participate in this program. This legislation not only helps our community, but empowers citizens to help their neighbors and themselves. I thank you again, Mr. Mayor, for signing this, and that young man has a great bow tie. Thank you very much.
That's an expert in bow ties there. If he says it, it's very important. Now I would like to introduce a man who is a great legislator and not necessarily a great photographer, but we thank him, sponsor of Intro 1198A, Councilmember Donovan Richards.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'm sure my community appreciates that I'm actually a good legislator,
Right.
according to you, rather than a good photographer.
Correct.
I think they would appreciate the latter. Yeah. But it is an honor to be here this afternoon, and I want to thank the mayor for his continued commitment to Southeast Queens. We are hovering around somewhere, I think, close to $1.7 billion in investment to finally address the longstanding flooding issues that many of our community members have had to deal with for decades. And when I say decades, I'm reminded of a daily news story that was recently written about a constituent of mine, Gail Hines, who has to walk and wear bags over her heels and jump off a bridge ledge to avoid a puddle in front of her home every time it rains. There's no getting around what this issue represented and represents in Southeast Queens, and it represents inequality at its greatest form. Communities of color, homeowners, middle-class homeowners who never had infrastructure built out in their communities. And to me, it symbolizes a crime, how we could have allowed homeowners, seniors, our most vulnerable populations, to live in conditions like this for so long. But I'm happy to say that we had a mayor, and we have a mayor who really, truly listened to the community's needs and not only talked the talk, but walked the walk by putting the money up to actually address this issue. And, you know, it's funny, I just became a homeowner in Rosedale, which is an area that is synonymous with flooding when you say it. And I walked out my door one day to see work beginning on my own block that I just moved on. So, you know, for the neighbors over there, it meant a lot because they have never seen, in particular, any of the issues being addressed in this community. So with that being said, because I have to wrap up, there are a lot of people to thank who got us here. First off, the mayor for his commitment. And while we trust DEP, we believe in trusting and verifying. So we're happy to work with our partners there, and they're doing a good job, and we got ways to go. So I want to thank Eric Landau, Commissioner Vincent Sapienzo, and former Commissioner Emily Lloyd, who really got this ball rolling when she was here. To the wonderful Samara Swanson, to Bill Murray and John Selsa of the Environmental Protection Committee and Finance Committees, thank you for your commitment. Chairman Costa Constantinidis, I got his name right, and to the other co-sponsors on the bill, and then to my legislative director, Jordan Gibbons, and legislative aide, Camille Bacard. Thank you so much. Let's keep those hammers going.
There you go. Thank you, council member. All right, we have 3 people signed up for public testimony. Please come forward. Peter Rashino, Hal Sokolov, and Mohammed.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the New York Electrical Contractors Association, the leading trade association of union electrical contractors in New York City, I would like to first and foremost thank Councilwoman Elizabeth Crowley for her dedication in passing this bill in partnership with the coalition of support we have assembled. Thank you, Chairman Williams, for ensuring this important piece of legislation got the hearing and votes it deserved. And finally, I would like to thank Mayor Bill de Blasio for demonstrating his commitment to safety in the electrical industry by signing this bill here today. Over the past years, our members called, wrote letters of support, and passionately advocated for this bill. The bill being unanimously passed through the council and signed by Mayor de Blasio is a true testament that our elected officials, especially those here today, listen to their constituents and have a finger on the pulse of the small business community that surrounds them. I would like not only to thank Elizabeth Crowley, but congratulate the whole coalition support we have assembled, Local Union Number 3, IBEW, the New York City Central Labor Council, the Joint Industry Board of the Electrical Industry, the Association of Electrical Contractors, the Building Trades Employment Association, the Subcontractors Trade Association, the Women Builders Council, and our friends from the 5-Borough Electrical Contractors Association for their steady efforts and commitment to this bill. Our work has paid off, and the days of doing unlicensed electrical work in New York City without adequate consequences are over. Given the momentous occasion that our association turns 125 years this year, this is truly a celebratory accomplishment for all of our members. On behalf of President Stephen Giannotti, we sincerely thank you and thank everybody who had a part in passing and signing Intro 247A into law.
Congratulations on your anniversary.
Good afternoon. My name is Hal Sokolov. I'm a past president of New York Electrical Contract Association, presently a governor of NECA, New York. It's a great honor to be here. I want to thank Congresswoman Elizabeth Crowley, Mayor de Blasio, and of course Chairman Jermaine Williams. It was close. By signing this bill into law, I believe you'll be helping New York be a safer place to live and to work. I thank you very much for all your hard work. This is very important to the electrical industry of New York City and the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mohammed A. Mohammed. I'm past president of the 5-Borough Electrical Contractors Association. I want to thank Peter for bringing this to my attention and Mrs. Crowley for bringing this forward to its fruition. And the mayor, thank you very much for signing this bill. This bill takes out a lot of unscrupulous people who really demonize our citizens in our communities. In the past, we've had many, many inspectors on the street. We don't have that today. We would like to see more to enforce this bill, to get people on the street watching what goes on the street so these things don't happen. And again, I'll make it short. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for directing it in the right direction, Mrs. Crowley. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, excellent. We're going to do a few words in Spanish to summarize everything we have done here in terms of legislation today, and then we'll sign these pieces of legislation. Estoy firmando 14 leyes para crear informes de salud reproductiva, apoyar a las personas con problemas de uso de drogas, mejorar servicios de acceso para personas con problemas de audición, ayudar a las personas involucradas en choques de vehículos, realizar un estudio sobre las calles privadas, asegurar que el traspaso de licencias de taxis sea más económico y eficiente, promover los sistemas de autos compartidos y proteger la seguridad de los neoyorquinos y el bienestar de nuestro medio ambiente. With that, we will sign the last pieces of legislation. You are up. Yep, whoever you need. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Well, you can call me Congress.
Like a switch in the celebration of the electricians. I know. Light it up.
Want a nice picture, need more lights.
Yeah, like everyone's an artist. How many would you like? You can, feel free.
I guess.
Eric, why are you there? Come.
Whatever you like.
Oh, okay.
10?
He doesn't know anything about
10 it
Yeah,
is.
they're 9.
We can do it.
Could you get one for Steve Giuliani?
The first one to you. Congratulations.
This is Hug Electrician Day.
That's right. It's a day we look forward to every year. Donovan, are you being insensitive? Yes. Okay, at least you knew it. All right, now this will be 10. Are you sure you need, is 10 enough or you need more?
Edwin needs one too. Just do them right now.
One more, and that's it.
This will be it?
Perfect 10.
All right, perfect.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks again.
Okay, and now, the public advocate.
That's me.
Always to my left.
Always.
How many would you like?
2.
2 it is.
No.
Six, yeah, we got Councilmember King and then a few individuals.
Oh, I
Should
can't
we,
have 2?
So I'm gonna move on, so.
Oh, okay.
You're
So,
free to go.
Yeah, the electrical contractors, I think we got a good.
All right, thank you, everyone. Well done. Excellent. Wait, let's take a picture of the book. Yeah,
Thank you.
The book. Hold that with me. Hold that with me. There you go.
Let me get in this one.
Yeah. You're the reason we're all here. Come over here. Come on this
We need
side.
women power.
Here, hold that again. Elizabeth, over here.
I gotta sneak in too.
There you go. And when we see. There we go.
Great.
Got it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Congratulations. Hey, how you doing, bro? Good to see you, man. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thanks again, Mr.
You're very, very welcome. Go with the flow.
Oh, that one is exactly.
Actually,
I moved literally, I moved to spin it someplace else. I moved 3 blocks. I moved 3 blocks.
Okay.
Where I was, where the work actually did start.
Yeah.
He's still the past chair of my committee.
Oh, okay, okay.
Where we at? 6 it is.
Come on, Jason, come on up. Come on, council. Yeah.
No time to be shy.
Come on, everybody, come on.
Don't be shy. Come on, nice.
All right, now.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Stephanie, you want to come up? You want to get a pen? Come on.
What's up, young man?
Come on, Steph, hurry up.
You got to encourage boldness here.
Yes. Jason,
All right,
come
we're
get
still
your pen.
we're still at 6.
I'm trying to figure out, is that legal?
Daddy.
How are you? Is she embarrassing?
I'm normally this red.
Okay, good. Good.
Thank you.
Go.
And you get, you know what? I got one on this side for him.
You get in, get in, get in,
All right,
get in.
there you
I'm
go.
trying to get a good shot. You
You
get
got
in.
one there?
Nice.
I got one. You got one?
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yay.
Thank you.
This is the last one.
Okay.
I'm next? Okay.
Let it be be law.
Let it be law. I like that.
Let it be law. Thank you.
Make it so. Okay, like Jean-Luc Picard. Right?
The right way on this sheet.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Now, Donovan.
All righty, let's go. I gotta get to the, actually, we have a meeting on flooding in the Rockaways tonight.
There you go. What's the magic number?
What is the magic number for Oh. 7, I think.
Donovan
Eight.
doesn't
1,
pay
2,
attention
3,
to these meetings.
4, 5, 6. Joni normally does all of this. I'm spoiled. Okay, I'm
Give you
spoiled.
discretion. Discretion. How many you want?
5,
Yeah,
6,
don't.
7, 8. 8
He
is
would
good.
never.
8 is good.
He would never go too far. 8 it is. He's a reasonable man.
I try to be.
Let's start with 1.
Thank you
Well
so
done.
much. Thank you.
Well done.
Keep sending that money our way.
There you go.
All right.
That's a noble sentiment. I'll never forget what he said to me. His simple eloquence.
Thank you, Councilman. Straight to the point.
Yes, you are.
Samara,
Thank you.
congratulations. You've been in this fight for a long time. We're seeing a lot of progress. We have an announcement. We're making another announcement tomorrow, actually, with DEP. $10 million announcement for another block.
We'll take it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I've lost track.
Oh, Camille. Yeah, Jordan. Camille, you come up. Jordan, you swap with her. Let her come. Yes.
This one, I haven't signed it yet. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
You really want to be signed. Is this going to be enough as the final pen?
That is enough.
Are we all in agreement?
Yes.
Okay, we've successfully navigated.
That young lady joined us from France, so I wanted to make sure she's been
Bienvenue.
interning for 6 months from France. She goes back
France.
in April.
France.
France.
These bills are now law. Congratulations.
Thank you again, sir. You want to get a quick shot on this day? Okay.
All right,
Get
everyone
in
here.
close.
Come on. Here we go.
Samara, you get here.
We got our photos.
You're not blocking me. It's okay.
Yeah.
Everyone good?
All righty, we're good.
All right,
All righty.
it worked.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
It was great having you on the EP committee, and you've been a great mayor.
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you. I miss those kinder, gentler days on the Environmental Protection Committee.